Welcome to all. My name is Luis Perez-Pede. I serve as chair of the Historic Districts Commission. Welcome to the meeting of May 5th, 2022. The commission will review one continuance and two new applications this evening. At the end of the review of the applications, we will also conduct some additional business. We're conducting this meeting online in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. The public may access this call through both telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions following the petitioner's presentation and questions from the commission. To do so, please raise your hand in the participant function of the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling and cannot use the platform, you may raise your hand by dialing star 9. Our host will mute microphones of those not speaking, and in order to preserve bandwidth and may need to turn off video, with the exception of the commissioners, the host, and the current applicant. I will call on each commissioner for comments on an application and then open the meeting for public comment. Once there are no more public comments, I will ask for a motion from the commission to continue, to approve with conditions, or to reject. A second, and then conduct a roll call vote. Once the commission has acted on an application, the applicant is free to leave the meeting. We'll do a roll call of the members of the commission. Peter Nobili.
Here.
Melinda Shanway.
Here.
Abigail Flanagan.
Here.
Dennis Fiore.
Here.
Catherine Mast. She's not here.
Oh.
And Henry Moss.
Catherine's here.
Where's Catherine? I didn't hear.
Upper right.
Oh, okay. Well,
Maybe
Catherine
muted,
is
I don't
here.
know.
Henry Moss.
Here.
And I'm here.
That's good to hear.
Okay. The first continuance will be for 59 Walden Street to renovate existing building, including doors, windows, siding, gutters, and lighting, and to construct the second story addition, new side entry porch, and utility fence enclosure. The members of the commission are aware of some letters that have been received, one representing the applicant and another one from the neighbors, and I'm sure all members of the commission are familiar with those letters. I also want to express recognition to the applicant for a very comprehensive review of the issues brought by this commission in the last meeting and the organized way that all those issues were answered. So who's here for the applicant?
Richard Harrington, engineer from Harrington Associates. With me is Chris Hill, along with the architects and the landscape architect. My role as engineer is to
welcome you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for your time and the site walk and all your questions regarding parking and access and things of that nature for the entire site. As you know, your commission relies on advice and can seek information from your staff, being the town planner and the assistant fire chief. And so as we move through this process, our goal is to seek a certificate of appropriateness with probably some conditions, which one would be, as we move forward, is the addition of some motion sensitive fixtures to the lighting program on the exterior. As we move forward, our goal is to then file for site plan approval and also for an order of conditions with the Natural Resources Commission. In receipt of the letter from the town planner, she spoke with the assistant fire chief, and there's an overall safety for the neighborhood to keep the pavement in the two driveways, the in and the out. So we believe that based upon the testimony received by your staff, which is allowed per the commission's guidelines, that the parking will remain the same, the entrances will remain the same, and that the access for the handicap ramps also are not proposed to have any changes. As we move forward, you'll see that there's additions to the proposed landscaping that will be spoken about, along with the exterior lighting, and along with one entrance change from going down to the basement to a first floor level porch on the right-hand side with steps going down. In regards to that nature, we believe that we have addressed additional items. In the comprehensive aspect that you did talk about was a spreadsheet that was prepared by the architectural team. Item number one talks about the columns on the side porch. Are they too thin or too small? And they agreed to make those changes. The second item was a center entry for the door, and they've also agreed to make changes to that in an overview. Items 3A was to change the parking if we could. And you'll notice in the paragraph from the letter from the town planner that the commission is not allowed to ask for those changes because it would be a nonconformity for the current zoning bylaw. 3B to change is another one that changed the parks. There's only one driveway. And again, to reiterate that one is that the fire chief seeks to request that stays the same with an entrance and an exit as proposed with fire safety purposes. Number 4 was to try to soften the building mass on the east side. I think what you'll see is that there are windows added to that level and also in keeping with those things also. As we move forward further along the spreadsheet, the site lighting has been reviewed and we have some lower post lights, 4-foot height on the right-hand side entrance closest to the abutting property of the resident. And then we have some other fixtures that have been designated by the team that they can speak about, which are dark sky friendly. And then we would be adding the sensors per your guidelines for lighting that would support the concerns about lighting being on all night by the abutter. Vegetation along the east side of the building between this, we've added plantings on the right side of the driveway. It is a narrow grass strip with the fence, and we've added some plantings near the porch area. And then there'll be a fence in the back of the building to hide the modern mechanical items that'll be added along the back of the building. And then the last item, number 7, was the accessible ramp. Again, since the letters from the assistant fire chief and the town planner, the accessible ramp is a benefit also for people on the public road entering the project. So that will remain also. So there's no change proposed for that either. So in summary, the team is here. Oh, one more. Thank you. The new massing, we have some updates to the cross sections of the street views, which shows that the scale of it in relationship to the building to the left and right, it's in character with the neighborhood. It also, this zoning district is a limited business district number 2. So it's already been, the maximum height allowed has already been lowered by the town itself from 35 feet down to 27.5. So built-in items to protect against the massing have already been provided in the zoning bylaw before we even got to this project proposal. Number 9, the design team concerns about project feasibility due to significant requests. We believe we try to make the best effort possible to address all the questions brought to the commission that we could provide in regards to the addition, the architectural elements, doorways, fences, gutters and downspouts, the landscaping, lighting, materials, the modern equipment, the paint changes, along with the porch to the right, the roof siding, the steps, and also the windows. The other criteria within the historic district guidelines, we believe do not apply to this project, or they've been further reviewed by your staff and saying that those are not within the purview of the scope for a certificate of appropriateness. So on the screen, you'll see that beginning at the right side of the entrance to the east on the right, down the sideway, there's a post light on the right-hand side, and then it's a bollard. So what I'd like to do is just wanted to provide a summary to believe that we're at a point where we are ready for a certificate of appropriateness with conditions, and we'd like to discuss that further with the commission and allow the staff, the team here at the table to take over to discuss things further.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to ask the members of the commission to make comments, and I'm going to go by my list. By the way, voting members of the commission tonight will be the 4 full members and Dennis Fiore. Abigail Flanagan will be recusing herself from one of the new applications, in which case Catherine Mast will become a voting member for that application. Peter Novelty.
Yes, hi. I'll keep my comments brief. I think the team has addressed the concerns, and I really don't have any strong objections to the project. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you very much, Peter. Melinda.
I was not present at the meeting when this was first. Well, I was at one meeting, but I think there's been one in between. Anyways, I always liked the thought that this building, which looks a little squat from the street, can be raised up. I can see that you've actually lowered what from what you originally presented. Excuse me, it looks like you're doing a great deal to buffer from the neighbors who don't want such bright light and don't want to be up against a bigger, taller building. Everything that I see so far actually is just fine.
Thank you, Melinda. Abigail?
So I have excuse me, sorry. I have a number of questions primarily related to the lighting and the landscaping. Those are my 2 kind of remaining areas of concern. So I just want to review all of the exterior lighting to make sure that I have in my mind correctly what you're proposing. So over the front entrance on Walden Street, the only proposed light fixture would be a recessed light over the main entrance door. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. There's no additional lighting on the ramp?
Correct.
Okay. One thing that I did note is that there's no signage proposed. Are you intending to put signage on the property at some point?
We'll be back.
Okay. Are you thinking about lighting for the signage?
Haven't even thought about it yet.
Okay. So moving around to the driveway entrance to the right. At that new elevated entrance, there will be one recessed light fixture above the door. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then the 2 wall packs on that side have been eliminated.
That's correct.
Okay. And then there's a new bollard proposed about kind of 3/4 of the way down the driveway there.
That's right.
Right there where the fence takes a bend, it'll be tucked in that corner and has a shield on it, so it doesn't face the adjacent neighbor's house. It'll just shine towards the driveway.
Okay, since that's not a pedestrian access necessarily, what's the purpose of the bollard?
It's just to light the driveway without to place some ambient light on the driveway, because the wall packs would provide some glare. We're trying to just get some light on the driveway without glaring into the neighbors.
I'm just wondering because it's not really a pedestrian access and cars have headlights. Like, is it even necessary to have that fixture there?
I think for people coming in, for staff coming in at night, it may look a little forbidding to have a dark alley to drive into.
Okay.
Our idea was just it's not a huge amount of light. It's just enough so that it doesn't look like a scary, dangerous place.
Okay. What is the proposed lumens on that fixture? Is that 570? Did I remember that correctly?
Oh, I believe so, yes. And then on the pole lights, we've got less than 3,000. I know that 3,000 is the HDC.
Well, 3,000 kelvins is our max for temperature. 430 lumens per fixture is our max per fixture. So 3,000 lumens would be a incredibly bright fixture. So what's the temperature on this? You have a couple temperature choices.
Yes.
Okay, so which temperature choice are you
30
choosing?
or 3,000.
3,000 kelvins for that temperature.
Needed, right.
Okay, and sorry, could you scroll back up just to see the lumens on it?
520.
520, okay. So,
Yeah, the one that we circled is 520.
okay, so slightly over, but within the realm of where we'd be. Okay, so moving to the rear of the property.
Can I,
Um,
is it
Sorry,
possible
so-
for,
okay.
okay, go ahead, never mind.
Okay, so moving to the rear of the property, do you have another recessed light over that rear entrance?
It's not a recessed light, Abby. It's a kind of a lantern. next
The
to
lantern
door.
picture, okay. And what's the lumens and kelvins on that? Sorry, this is one of those things that like we're just incredibly specific about, and I hate to be like nitpicky, but we go lumens and kelvins for every fixture.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question, and I don't have the answer. It's not going to be a bright light. It's just more decorative than anything else.
Yeah. Is the glass seated or is it clear?
I think that would be clear.
Clear, okay. Okay, and so then you have two proposed pole lights, both in the rear parking lot. So one, is it in front of that kind of tree halfway down? Or, okay, there. So we have a pole light there and then a pole light directly across from it.
Yes,
Okay, do you have a preference between the two fixtures that you've proposed?
yes. So
Okay.
this is the fixture with a globe, and this is the fixture with a flat in the dome lens, and we prefer this fixture, the one without the globe.
Okay. And do you have lumens and kelvins for that?
Yes, hang on, we've got it here.
And what's the height of the pole?
12 feet.
12 feet, okay.
So the color temperature is 3,500.
Okay.
And the lumens,
2955 is this, it's called T3 lumens. And so I have to confess, I'm not a lighting person, but my lighting advisor who works a lot with the town of Concord has told me that this fixture is going to be completely compliant with what the HDC requires.
Yeah, so it's dark sky compliant, but if you look at the guidelines for like lumens and kelvins, that's in excess of what we would typically approve. I mean, the kelvins are within range. I mean, like, it would be debatable whether someone could really tell the difference between 3,000 kelvins and 3,500 kelvins. But that's a pretty bright fixture. So I would be curious if they had a lower lumen option for that same fixture, because I agree that I think the fixture with the hood and pointing down like that is going to be less obtrusive, but meet your needs programmatically rather than the other globe fixture, which I think is going to be like a really bright beacon. So I would be curious to see if they have other lumen options for that particular fixture.
on the chart, it shows the lowest one is 1,740.
1,740, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then on the other driveway, you're proposing 2 wall packs, correct?
Right, which we've lowered in height.
Yeah, and the height's gone from what to what?
Mike, do you know the approximate height? They're basically, they were just under the gutter line before, and now they're coming down to the bottom of the second floor windows.
Okay,
So it's really just to focus the light on the driveway and try to minimize any spillover.
okay. And so given that, do you have the option rather than wall packs, which, technically our guidelines kind of specifically prohibit, have you considered bollards similar to the bollard that you're proposing on the other driveway? Is there a location in which you could put those that would light the driveway in an appropriate way?
Yeah, we actually talked about that at a meeting the other day, that why not just do all bollards? Do the one on the east side and maybe do two on the west side. Same idea, put them on the opposite side of the driveway in the grass strip, aiming back towards our building. So I think we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and other commissioners might feel differently about this. If there's an opportunity to avoid wall packs that are they're such a modern fixture, they're so bright, even the dark sky compliant ones spill more light than most people need or want. And given the approach, for example, coming from Main Street down Walden, you have that great kind of alley down there of open space. Those wall packs are going to be highly visible from the streetscape. So I would be concerned about those. And I would think that bollards would be more appropriate and more keeping with our guidelines.
Disagree.
Those are kind of those are my general impressions about the lighting plan as proposed. Moving to, I don't want to take up too much time. Moving to landscaping. My primary area of concern, well, one, so on the front side of the building where the ramp is, are you removing the current shrubbery that's there now?
We have, excuse me, we have to remove the
Yeah.
hedge that's now for construction, but we want to replace it in kind.
You want to replace it in kind. Okay. So my primary area of concern, and I think an area of opportunity, is on the right-hand driveway, where you have changed the entrance, where before you had the entrance to the basement and now there's the entrance up to the first floor. Currently being proposed is you have some inkberry, you have some rhododendron. My thought is that, one of the concerns about the scale and size and massing of that particular side of the building, I think could be softened with more evergreen vegetation there, and particularly something taller in nature. The rhododendron, I noted on the chart, were ones that you're planning on transplanting. The one there now is pretty piddly and kind of.
There are a couple behind the building that are quite large.
Okay.
And they're the
Okay.
ones I'm transplanting. They go up to, they're taller than I am.
Okay. Because my thought was that if we're looking at ways, we're always concerned about massing and the impact on the streetscape. And one way we often mitigate that on different properties is some sort of vegetation screening. Other applications tonight are dealing with this as well. And so I wondered if you had considered something taller, something like arborvitae, something that would give you some height and would still be evergreen, that would soften that facade to some extent from the streetscape and from the historical structure to the right.
I can take a look at that. I'm pretty sure I don't want to create shadow in the building as much as an arborvitae might. I think if I put an arborvitae in there, it's going to want, or more than one arborvitae, it's going to want to get bigger than that space.
Mhm.
And so we'll wind up getting pruned and sort of butchered. And we'll also block two windows.
Yeah, I mean, I understand not wanting to block the windows, but I also think that something tall, if we're talking juniper, something evergreen and tall and thin would blunt the impact a little bit of that. Whenever we can green a space, and as we've said, I think everyone wishes there was more opportunity along the driveways for more greening, and we just don't have it. We don't have the width there. But that's an area where I think you could take some height. I think you could take something more narrow, and it might be able to blunt the impact of that increase in massing there. So that's something that I would consider exploring. But I've taken enough time. Those are kind of my general impressions. So I'll pass it back to you, Luis.
Thank you very much, Abby. Dennis, you want to make any comments, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm glad Abby went first. She asked a lot of the questions that I had. I was going to ask her, because she's very good at the lighting, to what her thoughts were on it. And so I think everything has been covered as far as I can see. And I agree with her questioning on this. Any questions I had were resolved by other town agencies. So I have nothing more to add.
Thank you, Dennis. Catherine.
I'm with Dennis. I don't think there's a great deal more to add. We had the opportunity to fully explore the driveway issue and concerns, and now we understand that fully. So
Thank you, Catherine. Henry?
I don't have a lot to add. I do have one question, which is more out of interest than concern, and that is, what is the planting along the north side of the wall, which is currently rendered in a kind of stucco application? And I just don't see, I can't see the no, that's pavement. What's the planting that's along that driveway wall between the sidewalk?
Sidewalk.
Yes.
In the building.
Yeah.
Oh, there in that little gutter.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Is that
it's a combination. It's going to be it's got to be very tough because it's such a dry, hot, radiant, heated spot. So it's sedum, nepeta, catmint, and little blue stem grass in alternating blocks.
so it's 18 inches tall or 6 inches tall? It's not something that will climb up over that stucco?
It cannot. It cannot. It's a low perennial planting. It's as high as I can get it as a perennial planting, but it can't climb up over the stucco. That strip is 18 inches to 2 feet wide. So getting something in that extremely hot spot, it gets afternoon sunlight, which is the hottest sunlight you can get. And it's dry, and I don't believe we're going to irrigate it. So there's not really a great opportunity. We're really shoehorning plants in there because that wall the foundation is such, as you know, it's such a blank, forbidding face.
And there are no appropriate vines? I'm just concerned about that blank lower level, which is like a vertical sidewalk almost. It's not as
Right.
well resolved as other aspects of your building's design.
You know, Henry, I can try to get some Virginia creeper going in there, which will cling to the building.
If that would work without destroying the upper stories over time, it's not heterohelix.
Right. And heterohelix will not work there. It will burn out.
Right.
Virginia creeper may work. Like I said, because it's so surrounded by hard surfaces, hard radiant surfaces, I'm not going to count on it. I prefer to insert it at points along that perennial planting, but keep the perennial planting in case the vines can't take. And that's,
I understand. I think it's worth attempting because I think that is, it's a weakness in the elevation that you've inherited.
Yeah.
As I understand it, you're not bringing clapboard down over that zone currently.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah. Other than that, I think others have, along with the town departments, answered my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. I will make a very brief comments. I echo all the comments of the other commissioners, especially the comments of Abigail in terms of the lights. I don't believe that the lights are, as proposed in tall poles, are appropriate, and I believe that it would be appropriate to have all bollards and no lights in any of the walls looking outside. I think there's a lot of spillage that creates too much lightning. I think that one of the troubles that we're having with this project is that this project, it's not trying to preserve a historic landmark or anything like that. This project is creating a new historic reference. So we have to be much more careful in what goes on in there. And that's the reason that from my view, the lights are an issue, but I believe that the applicant probably shares our concerns. So from that perspective, I cannot oppose anything in terms of the project as it is. In retrospect, this may be an opportunity that could have been utilized in an even more effective way. But I think that this is a very good project. I think that it is consistent with the streetscape, and that there are concerns for the neighbors and other issues, but I think that those are well addressed. Now I'm going to ask whether there are any public comments. I see that one of the neighbors are here, so maybe they want to make a comment.
Yeah, is it, may I speak? This is John Van Sicklen.
Yes, please, go ahead. Thank you.
You know, I appreciate the diligence that the Historical Commission and the project, team, put into this. I do have, a couple thoughts. I do, I'm still a little disappointed that there isn't, sort of more height to some of the plantings, between 69 Walden and 59 Walden. I think, it looks like there's a lot of greenery going in, but it's really pretty low level and, doesn't really do anything to sort of mitigate the sort of, the view from a highly massed, addition, here to the historic, home that we own next door. And I do appreciate the lighting, and thank you very much for taking it off, the side of the building. The thing that I would ask is, I don't really know what a bollard is, but, I assume that, that'll be sort of quiet light, but maybe in the back, is, 12-foot, high lights, as long as it's keeping, anything to bring it down a little bit. I mean, these are automobiles, not, trucks, driving through. So anything you can do to sort of quiet the back, because it's a big open spot would be great. So I, any consideration you guys can continue to make on lighting, I think, will certainly help. So anyway, those are my comments. I appreciate, the diligence everyone's done. Thank you for that. And, if this is the best we'll do, then it's the best we'll do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Are there any other public comments? I don't see any hands raised. So then I will ask the commission for a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the work at 59 Walden Street for a certificate of appropriateness to renovate the existing building, including doors, windows, siding, gutters, and lighting, and to construct a second-story addition, new side entry porch, and utility fence enclosure as amended, but with the materials that were submitted for this meeting, including modifications to the lighting and landscaping as discussed this evening.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So I'm gonna go by my list. Peter?
Aye.
Melinda?
Aye.
Abigail?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Catherine?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
And I am an aye myself. Well, thanks very much, and congratulations. And we look forward to see this structure coming out.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Okay, so we're gonna proceed with the new public hearings. The first one is Monica Park, 215 Lexington Road in the American Mile Historic District to replace a mailbox and install gutter with a downspout. And I think that the applicant is here.
Yes, good evening. We're here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you all again. So very briefly, the project as described is really two small exterior to the renovation project we've had underway with you all for a number of years. The first of which is to add a second mailbox to the existing post. We'll talk about the specific model of the mailbox here in a moment. And the second project is in the back of the house of new gutter along the second floor where we have roof lines converging and creating a fairly extensive there. That's a good circle picture there. Fairly extensive runoff during periods of rain and snow melting. So we're going to put a small gutter in that back section with a downspout. Happy to answer any questions. Briefly, in terms of the mailbox project, we have worked with the town to gain approval for a second dwelling on the property. It's the detached, what was the detached garage and still is, but has a small tiny house living unit upstairs. That is 219 Lexington Road. The post office has been polite but firm about our need to install a second box. And the solution we're proposing is the least different that we could based on the existing post and box that we have. What you see is the picture is a horizontal bracket made by the same company that makes the mailbox. That horizontal bracket sits atop the post, and the two mailboxes sit aside one another. The second mailbox we purchased is exactly the same model as the one that's installed already. And we will have the number plates 215 Lexington and 219 Lexington on the flip down doors in the front. So it was literally the least different solution that we could come up with to install the second mailbox. Happy to answer any questions about that, or I can also briefly describe the gutter project.
If you want to go ahead and describe the gutter project so we can discuss everything all together.
Sure. So yeah, if you just thank you. The picture that you see there is that short section along the top of the second floor fascia at the back of the house. We're installing a gutter section and a downspout along the rear, essentially to capture all the runoff from the cone and the roof plane above, where what we have there temporarily is the copper rain chute. And what we have is a fairly extensive waterfall from that intersection down to that kitchen window that you see there on the first floor. So the intent is to take that runoff and a downspout located on the back of the house down to drain the water.
Very good.
So that's it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to ask the commissioners for comments, and I will start with Henry.
Thank you, Luis. I'm trying to understand where the downspout will go. I understand the need for it. I also suspect your gutters are undersized.
Yes, thank you for the comment. I can assure you our gutters are undersized. The downspout will actually go, if I can try to describe it, the gutter will go along the fascia on the face of the elevation that you're looking at, wrap around the fascia in the rear of the house and down, tucked just where the cursor is, where the black arrow is on the picture. The intention is for that downspout to be tucked in behind the house and against the house, so it's minimally visible from the backyard.
Very good. That's what I thought. I have no objections to this, and I think it may even work.
Thank you, Henry. Catherine.
I too have no objections, and I think the practical solutions.
Thanks very much. Dennis?
I have no questions. It looks fine to me.
Abigail?
No objection.
Melinda?
No objections.
Peter?
Two quick questions. Are there end caps on the mailbox horizontal piece? They're just, are they open? And I'm concerned that frankly, it would be a, hornet's nest would get built inside it or something.
Yeah, they're not shown in the picture. There are end caps on both sides, yes.
Okay. And then the gutter, I don't think the gutter is visible from the public way, although I just went to Google Earth and the house is blurred out for some reason. So can we even see this from the street?
Barely. You'd have to make an effort.
Yeah. And then the only question there would be, can it match the other side in profile? I mean, it's a K-style gutter. If the other side is a wood K-style gutter, it'll look the same, I'm suspecting.
Yeah, it's the closest we could come to that profile. In fact, we selected the profile based on matching that. Unfortunately, we can't recreate that. It is a custom wood profile, but we came as close as we could with existing materials.
Okay. And on this elevation, it won't read I don't think so. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Peter. And it's a mailbox, but I have no comments. I think it's fine.
I thought you were the mailbox subcommittee.
I am.
Lettering
but,
glow at night. We have to figure that out.
What can I say? Are there any public comments? Well, if there are no public comments, I will ask the commission for a motion.
I'll move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness to replace the mailbox and install a gutter with a downspout as shown on the application package at 215 Lexington Road.
Okay, a second.
I'll second it.
All right, I'm going to go around my list. Henry.
Aye.
Catherine.
Aye.
Dennis.
Aye.
Abigail.
Aye.
Melinda.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
Good luck.
Thank you all very much. We'll see you next year, I'm sure.
Okay. You know where we are.
All right. The next application, it's Abigail Flanagan from 398 Main Street in the Main Street Historic District to install a play set. And Abigail will recuse herself, and Catherine Mass will take her place as a voting member.
Hello. So on the other side of the table now. So this is an application after the fact. Apologies all around for that. So for those not familiar, we live at 398 Main Street. We are the house right in the middle between Main and Elm Street where it splits. So our Elm Street side yard has about a 6-foot high solid cedar board fence enclosing it. Within that, we have installed a play set. As originally designed, the play set was entirely not visible from the street. Cedarworks, the company, came to us a few months ago and said they had some delays in terms of certain material components, and would we consider this change in design? If we did, they could deliver the play set within the agreed to timeframe. If not, there would be additional 9-month delay. Without thinking, I just said, yeah, sure, we'll take it, that's fine. When it was installed, I realized that the very peaked roof, the very upper portion of it, is visible from Elm Street. It's still not visible from Main Street, but it is visible from Elm Street. So I went out onto Elm Street and I took photographs from kind of the 3 most visible locations. So this was a number of weeks ago, before some of the leaves had come in. There's a yew tree that blocks part of the playset. That's the most visible view of it right there. You can kind of see it right in the middle. So there's a yew, there's some arborvitae. It's mostly obscured, but that top portion of it, the peaked roof, is visible from Elm Street. So that is what we have done. And that is what we would like approval for.
Thank you very much, Abigail. I'll go around again. Peter, any comments?
I have major concern. This could take several meetings to approve. And a site visit. I think we need a site visit because I want to make sure the slide works. Thank you, Abigail. You're so honest. I have no objections to this at all.
All right. Noted. Melinda.
It you'd have to be looking so carefully, and if you're really driving, forget it. You're never ever going to see it. I think it's just fine.
Dennis,
Of course, I agree totally with Peter, but I have no questions. This is fine.
Catherine, Catherine, we don't hear from you.
You muted.
You're muted.
There you go.
Oh, now she says muted.
Do you have any comments? We cannot hear you, and you muted yourself again.
I don't know what's wrong with the audio. It's totally fine.
Okay, we'll assume that you have no further questions. Okay. You know, I don't know where to start, and I will start by saying that this is just fine. No site visit required. So any public comments? There's Mr. Bader.
Thank you. As a neighbor, Stefan Bader, 7 River Street. As a neighbor, fellow historic district resident, I'm all for historical artifacts, and I'm also conscious of the fact that if we don't have kids playing, there won't be any history for anyone to carry on. So I support this wholeheartedly and appreciate Abby coming to get the blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. So I will ask for a motion from the commission.
I'll move that we approve a certificate of appropriateness to install a playset retroactively at 398 Main Street.
And a second?
Second. It's going to be a routine, Peter.
All right, Henry?
I approve.
Catherine? Raise your hand because we still can't hear. Dennis?
Aye.
Melinda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
And I as well. So congratulations.
Thanks, Abby.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to proceed to some other business, which is a discussion of 19 Main Street about a banner. This is the Concord Carlisle Community Chest celebrating their 75th anniversary. Is anybody from the Community Chest here?
Yes,
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. This is Jennifer Ubaldino. I'm the executive director at the Community Chest. I apologize for the photos, but that was the best way I could get the banner and pictures for you. Yes, we're requesting, it is our 75th anniversary. We have been in Concord since 1947, a longstanding nonprofit organization. You may not be familiar with us, but we raise money from within our community and we distribute it back to residents in our community through human service organizations through our grant making program. So we, are very much a part of helping our residents as well as helping our businesses and supporting everyone here to have a better community to live in. And it is our 75th year. We wanted to be able to celebrate that. And we are on Main Street at 19. We're upstairs in the second floor. We have a banner that we would love to put up. We're flexible on some dates, but I had proposed a couple of dates in May, but also in October. October is particularly, is usually decreed as a Community Chest Month by the Town Select Board. So we would love to have a time period in there to be able to share that with the community and show that it is our anniversary. It is also a big fundraising time for us. We'd like to just have this banner out to show that. I am in the process of doing the permit through the town and haven't heard back quite on that because I knew this meeting was this evening, but we do have the banner and there are, I don't quite know what details you might need to know, but please. I have approval from our landlord to be able to put up the banner for the period of time. They were fine with that, as well as our neighbors downstairs. We're also fine with that as long as it doesn't, block any of their signage.
One of the things that we would ask is, are the dimensions of the banner, and for how long and which times of the year would the banner be?
Sure. It is 6 feet wide, 2 feet tall, 6 by 2, or excuse me, 8 by 2. And we were proposing 2 weeks in May, I think from the, and again, I can be flexible on these dates, but from about the 22nd through 2 weeks into June. So May 22nd through June 5th, somewhere in that time period. And then we would also like to do in October, if possible, the whole month, October 1 through 31, something like that, if that's possible.
Okay, very good. Heather, is this something that can be approved administratively, or should we consider an application we can approve administratively? And if that's the case, should we approve it by voice vote, or should we do a tally?
Yes, I believe it can be approved administratively. It's temporary. And a roll call vote would be great, just for the record.
Okay, so are there any comments from the commissioners?
I just had a question. Banners go up and come down all the time. Heather, do we need to approve this?
So generally people don't ask. And if a banner is up for less than 30 days, you know, it really doesn't trigger review. Because this is going to be up 2 times. I thought it was a good idea to come before the commission, just so there's a record in the file that it was approved for those 2 times to be up.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
I had just one quick question. I'm looking at the elevation. Is it going to go over your sign? I'm trying to figure out how it's going to fit on the facade there. Is it going to go over the existing sign?
Good question. It's not going to block the Engel and Volker sign, which is also parallel to ours. So there's actually already some hooks on the building. So we're going to use those bottom hooks to tether it down. You probably can't see them because they're painted, but there's some bottom hooks down there. And then we're going to put some other top hooks 2 feet above it. And so it'll cover basically the bottom part of our windows. That's the way
okay. So it's going to go over the window.
Just a part of the bottom. Yeah.
Part of the bottom. Okay. Okay. I mean, it'll definitely look temporary, so I have really no objections at all. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other comments from the commission? Well, I think that do we need a motion, Heather, or should we just go and do a roll call for administrative approval?
I think a motion is acceptable. Yeah.
Okay, if I can hear a motion.
Why don't I move that we approve the temporary banner at 19 Main Street as described under our other business in this evening's minutes.
Okay. A second?
I'll second.
All right, so Peter.
Aye.
Melinda.
Aye.
Abigail.
Aye.
Dennis.
Aye.
Catherine. Okay. Henry.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. So we look forward to seeing the sign.
Great. Thank you all so much. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming by. Okay, the next matter, it's 70 Monument Street for for some trees that I don't know any of the details. Do we know any, what is this about, Heather? Discussion about the trees in 70 Monument Street.
It's Monument Square.
I think Mark's here.
Monument Square, I'm sorry.
That's okay, no problem. So last year, you folks came by, did a site visit and allowed us to cut down 3 pine trees that were in place, okay? At that point in time, we said we would come back in the spring and ask for permission to replace those trees with something that's appropriate. And obviously I was involved in the project with the HTC when it was first started. And my biggest concern personally was what the building was going to look like from Main Street. Okay, I was concerned that the backside of that building, as everybody knows, we had to change this from a residence to a commercial building. In so doing, we had to put in parallel staircases, which is what you see in those two windows there, and an elevator on the far side. Okay, so we had to put that addition onto the back of the building in order to change it from a residence to a commercial building. Okay, I was deathly afraid that when you stood on Main Street and looked at that building, that it was going to look horrendous. Okay, I've been involved in the project. We meet every Wednesday to go over it, to make sure everything is going the way we expect it to go. Obviously, personally, I'm thrilled with the way it looks, and I hope that everybody that drives across Monument Square appreciates how the building looks compared to how it looked before. I'm coming to you tonight, this evening, to talk about replacing those 3 trees. I sent in a spec sheet on the trees that we'd like to put up. They are cherry trees. If you look at the picture that we were looking at just a minute ago of the building itself, there are 3 wooden stakes that you can perhaps see right there. That's where we intend to place those trees. They're approximately 24 feet apart, which is what the umbrella of the tree will be in a couple of years. The trees we're putting in are 1.5 to 2 inches in radius, which is the appropriate way to do it at this point in time. They grow fairly quickly. We think it'll be beautiful, but obviously we're looking for permission to do that. So, any questions?
Thank you, Mark. Shall we go one by one in the commission? Peter?
I don't have any questions, Mark. Really, the only, and it's not even really, I don't even know if it's worth raising it. These are not native cherry trees, are they? These are from like the ones on the mall in Washington, correct?
Exactly. That's precisely what they are. They're Japanese. Okay.
I don't think they're invasive. I think they're just non-native.
No, we were going to put them in 3 maple trees. Okay. But then when we talked about that, the maple trees, the root structure would be a problem for the driveway. Okay. They tend to be messy trees. We wanted something that wasn't going to be a whole lot of cleanup. These, if you looked at the spec sheet, we made sure these don't bear fruit, so there's no problem with that. We think they'll be beautiful. Okay, so.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question, so I have no concerns.
Thank you, Peter. Melinda?
I've just been reading that there are a number of trees that are actually more native to the southern part of the United States are now starting to be brought up to New England because with global warming, they expect them to thrive here. So maybe you'll get more than 15 or 25 years out of these. 15 would be a little short in my opinion, but I think they'll be gorgeous there. So good luck.
Yep.
Thank you, Melinda. Abigail?
Yeah, I mean, I think my only concern is that it's a relatively small caliper tree going in and they don't have a particularly long life. Does the church just plan on replacing them in 15 years or so if they fail?
Well, let's see. I'm going to be 71 in July, so.
I don't care.
Are you passing this off to somebody else? Is that what you're telling me? Are we burying you under the cherry tree?
I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, I mean, we were concerned about that, but we thought they'd be so pretty. Okay, we thought that was worth it. And you know what? If we have to replace them in 15 years, we'll replace them in 15 years. I mean, I have one in my front yard that I have replaced once already. Okay. But they make up for it because they're so ornamental. They're just beautiful. Okay, Yeah.
And what's the idea with putting in a 2-inch caliper instead of a slightly larger one?
Instead of a what?
Instead of a slightly larger.
Well, no, because you don't want to plant larger than an 1.5 to 2-inch caliper. Okay, it runs the risk of them not taking. And I'm not an arborist. Don't misunderstand me, but that's what we're being told. And also, I can tell you that the cost goes up dramatically when you go to a larger caliper. We've always talked about putting in an 1.5 to 2-inch caliper as opposed to a larger one. Okay.
Okay. No, I mean, I think they'll be beautiful. I hope they last longer than the 15 years because it's a shame to kind of have to replace them.
I hope so too.
But,
I hope so too.
Yeah, they'll be quite pretty.
Thank you, Abby. Dennis?
I was not on the commission when this addition was approved, and I agree with Mark. I think the addition is well done. I think the unfortunate thing is it's glaring white. And it's unfortunate that it weren't done in a tone that would match the stone on the building. My hope was that the maples would actually cover some of that over time so that you wouldn't see that that back end so glaringly.
But Dennis, these trees will grow as large as the maples will, okay? At least that's what.
Cherry tree will grow as large as a maple?
If you look at the spec sheet that I just gave you, okay, they're actually pretty, they can grow to be pretty big, okay?
They can, but they're usually broader than they are taller.
Right.
So I guess I'll finish by saying this is fine with me. I would prefer the maples, but if you like the cherries, go with it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. Catherine?
Hopefully, can people hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Was the good old get out of the meeting and reload the meeting trick. So I think the cherry trees will be beautiful. I think it's a fine choice.
Thank you.
Henry?
I'm afraid that I'm not on board with others. This is a conflict that I deal with on streetscapes and in urban design constantly, and that people are very excited by the floral component of trees that generally lack a scale, structure, and continuation that is worthy of their urban location, or in this case, village location. And trees for this town in the Monument Square area have been a major concern of the town since the 1850s, when they began to plant them and argue over them and plant them again and plant them again. What I would really urge Mr. Giddings and his crew to do is to keep 2 of the cherries, but get a real tree in there, something like an elm. We now have fungal resistant elm trees, something that's going to be worthy of the scale of what I think has been a wonderful almost reconstruction of the of that parsonage and or rectory, and that the I think it's that central stake, and I'm not worried about the roots disturbing the driveway. I would have thought that you could get a 3-inch caliper elm, Valley Forge or Princeton elm in there, and do something that's worthy of all of the work that you've already done on the building. So I would vote against having 3 floral, short-lived trees from Japan.
Thank you, Henry. I don't have many comments. I agree with Henry about the longevity and the quality of the trees. On the other hand, I think that this is not a permanent structure, so the applicant can always either plant more trees or replace the trees. So I think that Mark will take Henry's comments seriously, and perhaps he will change the design, but I will not be opposed to the design as it currently stands. So are there any comments from the public?
Yeah, Luis, let me just interrupt you. Yeah, I appreciate Henry's comments. I will take it back to the group. Okay. We have spent a lot of time trying to decide what to go with there. We thought that the cherry trees would be a little bit different than what's currently there. There are some fairly large deciduous trees already there that we thought this would change the streetscape a little bit, that's all. So, but I will talk to them, Henry, and make the suggestion. And if we decide to change that, I'll come back to you, but I'd kind of like to just be able to move it forward if you don't mind. Okay, so, okay.
Okay, Melinda.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, excuse me, I like that suggestion, Henry. And I also think that that's really quite a broad length there. And I don't know why you couldn't do both. I mean, they're inexpensive. Perhaps you could find a parishioner who might help donate it. But if you could put the elm tree in front of the big white building and then put the lovely cherries, which will be gorgeous in the spring, year after year, and they may not, and it could easily last longer than 15 years. But I think doing both could be fantastic. Just a suggestion.
I think that Melinda's comments are very well placed. So I'll ask the commission that we have a motion to either approve this application administratively and encourage the applicant, Mark, to consider putting additional trees as Henry and Melinda have suggested. So can I have a motion?
I will move that, and I lost the address.
70 Monument Square.
70 Monument Square. I will move that we approve I think this is a change, correct, to the landscape plan as submitted?
Amendment.
An amendment. Bearing in mind the comments that have been made by various commission members this evening.
I can appreciate that.
Abigail.
You didn't get a second.
I'm sorry, a second. Abby seconded. So I will start all over again. Peter?
Aye.
Melinda?
Aye.
Abigail?
Aye.
Dennis?
No.
Catherine?
Aye.
Henry?
I would say no, but Mark can be relieved that my vote doesn't count.
Your vote always
Good
counts.
comments count, Henry. That's fine. I understand.
I will vote yes, but I trust that Mark will come back to us with an additional proposition that will address the very good comments that were made this evening. Thank you very much, Mark. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. And I hope everybody can appreciate how much time and energy we've spent on redoing that building. Okay, if you haven't seen it, you should, and sometime you should come down and take a look at the inside. It's a gorgeous building, and a very historic structure that has been saved because it was a mess. Okay, so anyway.
I think you've done a great job. I think it looks
Yeah,
wonderful.
same here. Well done.
So trust us that we're going to do the right thing with the trees on the side of the driveway. Okay. All right.
We have no question.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Nice to see
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Goodbye.
All right, so we have meeting minutes, and the only comment I can make is that I could not find them anywhere. So where are they?
They're on the website, I think.
No, I
Yeah,
don't. I went to the website. I don't find them in the website.
They're on the website under current meeting documents.
All right, so I'll look for it again. I'll confess that I haven't looked at them because I couldn't find them. There they are. Looked in the wrong place.
I would personally move, the site visit meeting minutes are utterly non-controversial, so I figure we could approve those. Can we do that and then punt on the other ones until you get a chance to read them? Or I've read them. It looks like Stefan has a question.
The 59 Walden Street has a fictitious address in it. It probably copied over from something else. It says like 3659 Walden Street, but I think
Oh,
it's
see?
59 Walden Street.
You'd think I would.
Which minutes were those?
Site visit.
Okay.
This one is it though? It's the not April
In
19th.
the text.
It's no, it's the last ones, the 7th. There you go. Thank you for catching that.
You're welcome.
I've read it so fast I didn't even see it. And I wasn't at that. Actually, I guess I can't vote on those. I wasn't at that site visit, but.
Well, neither can I. So do I have can I have a motion to approve the site visit minutes from 4/7, 4/19, and 7/21?
With the correction on 4/7.
With the correction of 4/7.
I move that we approve them.
Second?
Second.
Melinda, second.
All right, Peter,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
Abigail,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. All right, so we'll punt the site visit minutes from 3:16 and 4:07, and I will be more careful next time and look at them. And
They
find
look
them.
good.
They look good. All right. I don't think that there are any other issues to discuss. If anybody has any comments, I was going to poll the commission about a subject that is coming up shortly. But if anybody wants to discuss anything before that. Okay. The question I have is, when do we want to go back to in-person meetings? The options are to stay on video, which is supposed to last only until the beginning of July, but apparently there are a number of petitions from other towns in Massachusetts to continue with video meetings. The second option is to seek a hybrid accommodation, by which we probably would have to have the meetings in town hall, because I understand that the technology to support hybrid meetings in the place where we usually meet in Case Road is not very good. And the third option is just to go back to in-person meetings as we were before March of 2020. So this is just an informal poll. It's just for everybody to have the opportunity to express their opinions. The floor is free. Melinda.
It's very convenient, actually, for Zoom, not to have to commute especially when our meetings are long. But I think it would also be nice if we met at least once a month as a group. It's fun to interact with everybody, but I don't have a problem doing some of the meetings from home, because I think it's just easy for all of us. So.
Thank you, Melinda. Any
Can I ask,
other?
can I ask Heather and Heather, has there a general feeling among the town staff that meeting participation has, let's call it, increased because of Zoom access generally? See, that's what I suspect. So I would propose, if anything, we go back to a hybrid, even if we have to meet in town hall, so that we always have, because I think this is the future. Churches, public meetings, I think you've got to have a Zoom option for people who either can't or don't want to, or for whatever reason don't feel like coming out in public. And we may have to go back to masks and back and forth. So that's what I would vote for, is, if anything, a hybrid solution. But I'm also kind of happy to stay on Zoom, because I do get to see you all at site visits at least.
Yeah, true.
I don't know how the technology is in the town, but right now I serve on a committee at the library, and we do hybrids, and boy, they are hard. Everybody's sitting in a room, can hear everybody else, and they can interact, and you have these two people barely audible on a screen at the far end of the room. Now, we're not using a projection screen. It's simply a small computer screen we're looking at. So, I think that if the technology is improved, hybrids, I guess, could be fine. But the ones I participated in, I think, are just not very satisfactory.
Okay.
So for in-person meetings, would masks be required for either commissioners or those attending, or what's the policy in place right now in town buildings?
Well, that's a very good question. Heather, can we determine
no
ourselves?
mask requirement. There's currently no mask requirement in town buildings.
Yeah, so I mean, to be frank, speaking for my own interests, none of my kids are old enough to be vaccinated yet. So we have remained very cautious because they're 4.5, 3, and 6 months. So hopefully they'll all be vaccinated this summer. And once they are, we'll probably be more comfortable with it. But from that perspective, I would certainly, if we were to be back in person, I would absolutely be masked because I wouldn't be comfortable doing it otherwise. But That's my 2 cents.
Henry.
I would like to underscore Peter's point. I've found, and as a new member, I've found, even though it's not deliberative exchanges, being with everyone on site visits, and especially with the proponents for schemes, has been, I think, informative and rewarding. I've had a lot of difficulty with remote committee meetings, contractor meetings, things in which there's a microphone placed in the table, surrounded by people, hearing everybody adequately, compared to, and we've had difficulties even tonight with Catherine, for example, compared to a straightforward Zoom. So I would put off having in-person meetings of the type we had tonight for another few months until we really know where we stand with everything.
Thank you, Henry. I agree with the issue of the technology, but I think that the technology is likely to improve, and that as Peter suggested, I think that this type of video meeting is here to stay, and that probably a hybrid solution is what lies in the future. So I think that probably what I will ask Heather to do is see if we can explore to see what's the status of the technology right now, where actually meetings can be carried out from Case Road in a reliable fashion without all the issues that were mentioned, which I have endured them myself in other situations. And trying to address Abby's concerns, I entirely agree with her. And I don't think that it would be inappropriate for the commission to ask other fellow members of the commission and applicants and visitors to wear a mask on their own voluntarily as a matter of courtesy. I think that that's an option. But I think that what we will do is just explore further the opportunity of a hybrid meeting. Because I think that the personal touch is important, and we exchange ideas and we become quite collegial in the site visits when we are able to bump into each other. That's my impression. So if there are no other comments, I will ask for a motion to finish this meeting.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
Second it.
Voice vote me, yes. Abby, Peter, Henry,
Aye.
Melinda, Catherine.
Nice to see your little faces.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
See you soon. See you all. Bye-bye.